What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Uberkooledgarage. Very long time no see. I apologize for not posting a video in so long. Life kind of just caught up with me. Work has been super busy. Had to do a whole bunch of housework and stuff like that. But now the house stuff is pretty much finished off. I have a couple more things to do on the house. Work has been absolutely insane. Had a couple unfortunate events at work that have happened, but starting to move past all that stuff, get everything all situated. It's been pretty slow going the last couple months, but everything's kind of starting to settle back down and get back into a decent rhythm where I'm not rushing around all over the place. As you can see, the bug is out of the garage. So Ryan's car is up on the block. I am going to knock this thing out as fast as I possibly can. Get this car completely done. We have a bunch of projects to do on it, including finishing up the wiring, the radiator system. We have a couple other really cool things going on with Ryan's car. So this is up on the chop block. I'm basically just going to continue working on it as much as physically possible to finish it off. I know I've had it it's been just over a year. I was definitely not expecting my life to get as busy as it has been. So I apologize for that, guys. As far as bug stuff, this is basically what I have. This video is basically what I have of kind of what I had going prior to these last couple months. I do have a couple of decent updates on the bug. We did end up bringing it to Buggerama this year, so basically just brought it out there, did the car show. So we'll get to that update video on the bug probably next week, and then maybe the week after we'll have a good, decent sized video on Ryan's car, getting this thing buttoned up. So let's go ahead and hop into, actually this is my 100th video that I have posted on YouTube. So hope you guys enjoy. We are so close, well, we're pretty close to breaking that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you guys enjoy the video, please consider subscribing, or if you guys really do like the video, feel free to share it with friends. That way we can kind of get out there a little bit more, starting to kind of wanting to pick back up progress. I want to try and make better videos for you guys and stuff like that. So if you have suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will get back to you guys. So let's go ahead and hop into this video, and hope you guys enjoy. Back on the bug, I have to do things kind of in order. So I went ahead and pulled the fuel tank, the fuel pump, the water to air intercooler system stuff, all of that. So I got everything all cleaned out. So I have to get the hood to fit right. So with the water to air intercooler up front, the radiator doesn't quite fit underneath the hood to begin with. So with adding the water to air intercooler, there's definitely no room. So I have to get the hood to fit right in order to get the hood on, and then I have to mount the radiator from there, make sure that it fits, and then the water to air intercooler. After all of that fits, then I can go ahead and set the front tires back up, get the flares set up where I have full turning radius and all of that. So kind of got to do things in order here. I am going to add some tabs onto the body up here to the cage. That way it holds the body where it needs to be. That will actually help it align the doors a little bit better. So there's just quite a few things that I have to do before I start tearing the car apart and getting everything situated. So now that this is off, I'm going to remove this bar here. I'm probably going to cut this bar back a little bit, and then I'm going to take out the gas tank mount. So take that out, take all that out. I got to cut this rod here. And once I do that, then I can see if the hood fits. I also have to trim the front just a little bit to get the hood to slide back a little bit. I might have to notch these a little bit more, either that or I will sand down the fiberglass in the hood to get it to set down on that a little bit more. And then I'll refiberglass all that stuff in, kind of make some bumps in the fiberglass that fits into. But after I get all of that stuff in, then I can set the radiator in there, figure out where this bar has to go. I'm probably going to order a new bar, and then it'll probably get welded on up here somewhere to hold the radiator where it needs to be. And then I can start getting everything situated from that point. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll start making some front fenders. Well, I got the majority of that cut out. There's a couple things that I have to fix. A couple gaps, if you guys could see in the time lapse. But that should be no big deal. It's going to go through and clean a whole bunch of stuff up anyway. So here's my problem. So you can see that the top is pretty darn close, and the bottom's gapped out quite a bit. So I have these hood pins up here, the push pins. I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting some lock keys, hood pins in there with that kind of key. That way I can lock it. They will work a whole lot better. So I'll move these push pin ones down here on the bottom. And then these ones will have locks. These ones, you almost have to like pull up on it and then push the button. It's not super easy. So if I get the ones that have the twist lock in them, they can just kind of fall into place and then lock them. So with the bottom being gapped out and the top being close, you can see down here that I am touching the hood. So down on the bottom, I have a gap. Up here at top, I have no gap, so it's touching there. So I'm going to cut this at an angle, cut it back. I might have to notch the front bar where the hood enters in. And then up here, it's kind of really hard to see, but I'm hitting up there. So I'm just going to probably round that off a little bit, take a little bit off the top to get it where the hood will sit down on it. I'll probably end up sanding some of the fiberglass out of there as well. It's pretty thick, so I'll sand that down, That will allow it to drop more. And then with the front notched out, that should drop it down even more and be able to slide the entire hood back. Since I got this hood, it hasn't quite fit right. So you can see kind of a gap here, and then it's overlapped up here. So with the carbon not on here anymore, what I'm going to end up doing is I'll sand this section here just to pull the whole hood back a hair. That way it fits nice and good. And then I did talk about doing an entire carbon hood. A lot of this stuff in here is starting to crack. So I might sand this back a little bit, add some fiberglass in there, and then I'll re-gel coat that whole section. That way it's nice and smooth. So let's go ahead and do all that stuff and try and get this hood to fit up properly. I got everything fitting pretty darn good. I had to cut out a lot more than I was expecting. So this front tube, I was assuming I was probably going to angle cut that, and then ended up cutting out this section of this tube. So the inside of this tube will get ground back. I have 3/8 plates that I'm going to cut and form to fit into this section on both sides. I also notched these tubes here on both sides. So I have a 3/8 plate that's going to plate that right there on both sides. Have plenty of room for the radiator, and it clears the hood. So I have this piece of wood in here showing where the actual flat is. Don't want to go any lower than that, because what happened before was the radiator fan sat lower than that, and it caught asphalt and snapped the whole bottom of my radiator fan. So, and then you might have been wondering what the hole was drilled for. So water to air intercooler, it ended up being right in this section here. So there isn't any other way that I could have done this. If I would have went over this bar, the hood would have closed on it and collapsed the hose, so that wouldn't have worked. There's not enough room to get it fitting back underneath. So directly through. I'll end up getting a piece of pipe that sticks from the water to air intercooler, comes out here, and then a 90 will fit basically right here. I'm probably going to have to C-notch this one right here. And I'll put another piece of chromoly tubing in that C-notch, keep it all nice and clean. I'm going to make a bracket right here, probably a big old gusset that the hood tilt will actually go on to. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do that, but I have the poly bushings for the rear IRS arms, and they're brand new. Didn't use them because ended up going A-arm. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll end up welding this tube somewhere around here. And then I will cut the original collar that came on the tilt. These actually, on the original car, slid into this tube here. So I'll probably end up doing something along those lines like that to bolt the tilt on. I'm still trying to figure it out because I want the hood to actually kind of lift a little bit as the hood goes due to the front splitter. So these poly bushings fit absolutely perfect in there. So what I'll end up doing is I'll weld this sleeve onto the collar wherever, and then I'll end up welding a nut on the inside of this right here. That way I can put a flat washer on here and bolt it down. That way if I ever want to remove the hood, all I have to do is pull the bolts and then it should slide out. So should work out pretty good. Still trying to design a way for it to lift as it swings. So basically I want it to lift the whole hood as it swings because the front splitter is going to come off of the flat bottom here and come out 5 inches. So if the hood opens up straight like it used to, it's just going to smash right into the splitter, and I'm not going to be able to open the hood more than 2 inches. So trying to figure out and design that, but everything else is fitting pretty darn good. The unfortunate thing is I am probably going to have to extend the hood about 3/4 of an inch, 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch, somewhere around there, but that's really no big deal. I'll cut in fiberglass, and I still have a ton of fiberglass work to do on the hood itself, so might as well figure that out now, but it's not going to stop me from getting the front flares done and the hood set up, the tilt, all of that. But so far, everything up front clears perfect, so everything's functioning the way that it needs to. So we'll keep moving forward on getting the hood situated. That way we can get to our front flare video. Well, I got the intercooler core situated. You can see I have my notch there. Have the hole down there. Still have to make a plate that will weld into that one. Still have to weld in the bottom. Radiator's fitting good. Fixed one thing. Another couple things pop up. So the radiator shroud, as you can see, now that I raised it up above the bottom of the floor pan, sticks up above, which is fine. So I'll end up plating down into the radiator this way to cover up this gap, which is fine because the front is going to have a carbon fiber thing that mates up with the hood. That way all of the air from the hood will have to pass through the radiator and nowhere else. So that's not too big a deal. But the next large problem is the fuel cell. So with the radiator tipped back to make it fit underneath the hood and the intercooler core to fit underneath the hood, the fuel cell no longer has the room that it needs. So this bar here, I'm going to end up cutting out right there and right there, which means my steering column has to get cut off there. The battery mount has to get cut off right here. So this bar here is going to move back basically where it's at, directly behind it. So that'll get moved back. The bracket here, I'm going to have to make a new one. That'll get welded back further. The bar that runs across from, it's going to run from this bar now instead of that lower bar. So run from here, run directly across into that one up there. It'll just clear the fan. The battery mount, I think I'm probably going to lower probably 2 inches or so. And I might turn it. I don't know quite yet. I'll look into that a little bit further. So all of this stuff has to change now just to make everything fit. Very, very, very tight space. What I would like to do is get the battery to fit down in here, get the center of gravity as low as possible, but that's not feasible with all the stuff that I have under there and all of that. So start removing this bar, get all this stuff situated exactly where it needs to be again, get the fuel cell back in, and I think we should be free to move on to the hood mounts. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff removed and start organizing all this stuff. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you on this one. Like I said before, this was just little bits and pieces from over a couple months ago. So kind of just threw together what I had left in the videos. There are a couple more little bits that I kind of want to get finished before I show you guys the video of what actually happened with everything. So I want to finish off those parts before I show you the video on them. So I'm actually pretty excited about them. They turned out really good. They're not 100% done yet, but they're really close. So next video might be on that, slash kind of some Buggerama prep. So we'll go ahead and do that in the next video, and then the video after that we will have a good video on Ryan's car, getting a lot done. Hopefully be able to start it up soon. So until the next one, peace out guys.